Good morning from Guyana. I don't know what time it is in different parts of the world, but greetings to all of you. The just concluded BRICS conference in South Africa will certainly go down as an historic event. This is so because it would very well be the beginning of the end of neocolonialism and the advent of a new economic liberation. This is something that patriots and nationalist leaders in the global South have dreamed about for a long time. This was something that many countries and progressive leaders had been pondering for a long while. We have suffered for so long by the massive manipulation of the international institutions, such as the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, and the IMF, which became instruments of oppression used by the United States. Even the United Nations itself was known to be misused and manipulated on several occasions. Example, the murder of Patrice Lumumba, and more recently, the invasion of Iraq and Libya. However, the issue that made these things possible was the use of the US dollar, or one of the things that made these possible was the use of the US dollar as the preeminent currency to carry out international trade. That gave the United States authorities enormous power and influence in the global economy as a whole. The US used its positions in the international economy to impose its positions, political and otherwise, on other states. If it did not like the policy of any country, it was quick to impose sanctions on those states. The longest sanctions have been imposed on Cuba since 1961-62. This has created great hardships on the people of that island. The main objective of those sanctions was to ensure that Cuba's socialist system would not succeed. While Cuba's socio-economic system was not destroyed, it survived all the sanctions. The economy took a battering, and it is causing great hardship to the people of that island. Over the years, this became a powerful weapon in the hands of the United States. Today, the people of Venezuela and Nicaragua are laboring under heavy sanctions. Iraq was heavily sanctioned during the time of the Saddam Hussein government, and it cost them dearly. More than 500,000 children, you will recall, died because of those sanctions. The then US Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, justified that and justified the killing of more than 500,000 children, apart from other people, that she said it was worth the while. They have seized billions of dollars from Iran, Afghanistan, and now Russia, and many other states as well. Indeed, they weaponized the dollar, using it to raid and rob other states and even individuals. They felt so sure about their ability to destroy and or inflict heavy damage on countries that they placed that in their planning to destroy Russia. So when they pushed Ukraine to provoke Russia into a conflict, they were not only depending on the military preparation that they did with Ukraine and their own military might, but also on their sanctions, the economic sanctions. Recall President Biden's boast about imposing the mother of all sanctions on Russia. They felt that Russia could not withstand such comprehensive sanctions, which included the stealing of Russia's money that were held in US banks. Russia's response showed that sanctions could be defeated. In my view, the demand by Russia to be paid in rubles for their oil and other commodities was most responsible for exposing the sanctions and making it ineffective. In fact, it was more than ineffective. It created a boomerang effect on those who placed the sanctions on her. Russia began trading with other countries using their respective currencies. The system is working. Moreover, it offers all nations a greater degree of economic freedom. And may I say in passing here that this was possible for Russia to do because of the experience that they had from the time of the Soviet Union. In one of the ways they used to help countries in the global south was to trade with them in their own currency and even allow them to pay back debts and so forth in commodities that they had plentiful. And that is something that China too has been adopting in recent times. So that is another benefit from the former Soviet Union. Other countries, including allies of the United States, have recognized this and have appreciated the wisdom of this, added to the greater independence that it offers nations. We must also recognize that many countries became scared of the fact that the United States has been practicing seizing other people's reserves that are held in their banks. And that has spread to many European countries as well. Trading in their own currencies and eventually creating a new currency for foreign trade among BRICS nations and states is demonstrating a strong viability and a strong alternative to the system that we have at this point in time, to give us a possibility of having other currencies to trade with. This movement has great possibilities and is likely to spread even wider. Other systems are coming into existence that will facilitate this, for a want of a better word, for the independence movement, this new independence movement. This includes alternatives to the SWIFT system and other banking arrangements. The BRICS banks has the possibility of offering a new kind of relations among nations. This is particularly attractive to the global south. The win-win philosophy of China in dealing with the global south is gradually becoming a philosophy that the BRICS can adopt. While recognizing the potential that the BRICS arrangements offer, we must not allow ourselves to fall into a false sense of security. We must see this as a struggle, and the possibilities are so great that they are worth fighting for. Let us not, however, believe that it would be smooth sailing. If we agree that this would be a struggle, then we must examine the vulnerability of the BRICS and anticipate that the US and its NATO allies would strive to take advantage of anything to frustrate and defeat the movement. We must be aware that unity within the group, even on limited objectives, is most important. Without doubt, the NATO group would use any vulnerability to look and find them and to use them to disunite and to try to destroy. In the first place, And when I'm looking at some of the vulnerabilities, in the first place, I think about India. That would be a target for imperialism to work on. This is so because of the border issue that exists between China and India. That has created a lot of tensions, and the tensions have grown between those countries because of the border dispute. Another major issue is the situation in the South China Sea. The US is ensuring that the countries involved in the South China Sea are not getting together to discuss this matter among themselves to find solutions. Even a country like Vietnam, with such a glorious history, is straddling its position between China and the United States. And that is most disappointing because the United States is offering its assistance against China. The US is seeking out any country with any issue with China and Russia and offering its support to them. We see them at this moment working with Armenia, one of Russia's allies, strong allies, because of the tension it has with Azerbaijan, which is also supported by Turkey, a country that has been trying to play a middle road and a neutral road in the struggle that goes on with Ukraine at this point in time. So obviously they're trying to kill two birds with one stone here. In Latin America, we can expect massive overt and covert actions by the United States and its NATO allies to bring about regime change in many countries. Recall that Mexico expressed strong support for BRICS, for the BRICS initiative, and at an earlier period, it expressed its intention to join the group. It should be noted that that did not materialize, and one can speculate that it has something to do with pressures from the United States. Argentina has great internal problems. The United States has a strong influence in the military of most of the countries of the region. They have strong links within the countries, including the political parties. The government of Argentina is in a weak position. You can bet your bottom dollar that the US is going to activate contacts to bring about regime change there. And we saw the growth of the right wing in that country in the last elections. The situation is a bit better in Brazil. However, we must not forget that Lula's victory was very, very slim. Here too, we have to expect US involvement to try to remove Lula or to temper his actions. These are some of the areas that could be exploited to stem the tide that the BRICS summit in South Africa created. Our task is to minimize the issues that has a possibility to divide the BRICS movement and to maximize those that bring unity among them so that we can help this movement to grow from its infancy to become stronger. Whatever influence we have, we should first direct it towards removing the things that could be used to stymie BRICS advancement. In my opinion, the border issues are the most dangerous of all. We should encourage discussions among the BRICS states to assist in settling the contentious issues among group members. We should help to find mechanism to make suggestion and finding some type of mechanism, because it is so difficult for countries involved in border issues to really solve them by themselves sometimes. But if we can help to find fair and just mechanism to try to help those countries to deal with those thorny issues, If we can succeed in removing those impediments, then we will be contributing to the unity of the movement, which is so essential for success, and in the final victory over neocolonialism. I thank you for your attention.